I've spoken with Ruby Mehta. She is the VP of Sales at Netsmartz. We have spoken about the fact that her organization has over 1,000 professionals and they focus on multiple niches, multiple technologies, the challenges that go around doing that kind of thing. And also about the pros and cons of working with a freelance professional as compared to an agency to an organization as big as Netsmartz. Hello, Ederson Oliveira here. This is another interview for the Outsourcing podcast, and I have with me Ruby. She is Vice President of Sales at Netsmartz. Ruby, thank you very much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Edison. Thanks for having me today.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Ruby, let's start with by you telling where are you located? Where are you?
I'm in Toronto.
Very good, very good. So you're local to me. Very good to have a local interviewee joining me. So today I wrote down that we would be talking about outsourcing in large scale. And why did I pick you to talk about outsourcing in large scale? Tell me why.
Yeah, that's a good question. We spoke about last week. We spoke about outsourcing, and Netsmartz provides a lot of models, a lot of outsourcing models to the clients. So we spoke about to build your team. That's a very interesting model that Netsmartz supports. So I think that's the reason.
Yeah, actually, the reason I caught you out of guard. That's fine. The reason is because you guys have a pretty big, a huge team of professionals and people that you allocate for outsourcing. So talk a little bit about what goes on outsourcing on that with that size of team. I know that you have plus 1,000 plus resources out there. So talk a little bit about the size of the organization and the challenge that comes with that size of organization.
Okay, so now let me tell you a few statistics about Netsmartz first. So Netsmartz it's a 17 years old company headquartered in Rochester, upstate New York City, and we have 8 global locations. So out of these 8 locations, we have 4 very huge development centers. And those development centers are there in India. So yeah, no doubt there are multiple locations and there are 1,000 plus technology people working with the organization. But this is not a challenge, I would say. When it comes to small scale or startups or very small kind of organizations, Netsmartz actually provide very good services to all those, starting from startups or very small scale organizations to large scale organizations. So Netsmartz has been able to fulfill the requirements of all types of industries and all types of scales.
Got it.
I would say even for the startups and for the small scale industries, we have beautiful models to work with. So as I said, we have build your team model. That is very, very interesting. So startups, they normally face that challenge building their own team. All of the costs, the hiring costs, the retention costs, and then as a startup, you have one product probably, and you need 5 different technologies. And those may not be full-time engagements that you need for all particular technology. So Netsmartz play a very, very interesting and very good role when it comes to startups. So we help startups to basically hire resources or build their own team with Netsmartz at lower cost.
Got it.
So you are not paying those full-time salaries as you pay probably in dollars, US dollars or Canadian dollars. You don't pay that much. The operation cost is not that much. So this model is really being very helpful and successful with startups.
Got it. So I can only imagine that I don't want to push the agenda towards large scale, but I'll push a little bit because I'm quite sure that you are in a very unique position. I don't know if I will be talking a lot with other organizations that have the size of team as you guys have. So tell me, you don't need to disclose the name of the client, but if you pick, one current engagement that you have with another company, which one has the larger amount of resources allocated to that project or that client?
Okay, so I would say when a company needs something to get done at the development front, so there are two models that they can pick. One is fixed price. You have your requirements ready, and we can estimate the requirements, and we go ahead from there. And the second model is when you are not sure about the requirements, they keep on changing. In that case, you hire those resources and you build your team with Netsmartz. So normally people engage one or two resources at the beginning. But with the experience, I would talk about the current assignment that you have spoke about. I will talk about that as well. So before that, I'm just saying that people, normally companies, they start with one or two developers at a time. And we have seen in our experience that we have clients with 15 plus team members with Netsmartz currently. And I have one of my Canadian client, he started with us last year, and it was a fixed project, and because the requirements were very, very upfront, very clear, so we estimated the efforts and we gave the fixed price for the project. But then later on, if it is a product for the client, you always think of upgrading the product. You always think of releasing upgrades every month, every quarter, every 6 months, up to you, but you have those upgrades in mind. So at that point, once we release the product, customers, when they like the experience dealing with our developers, dealing with our project managers, they like the experience, they like the association with Netsmartz, they retain their team. So when they retain their team, it's like a BYT model again. So you are building your own team for the upgrades, for the maintenance, for the support, for the new features. It's a product, so you keep on increasing the features. You keep on upgrading the product. I have a client who started the association last year with a fixed cost, and now he has hired 3 developers full time and 1 customer support executive. He's a Canadian based.
Got it. So what you are actually telling me is that usually engagement starts small and it grows over time, correct?
Yes.
Got it. Because when I saw
there is one more thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you here. There's one more thing. Sometimes people have in-house team. For example, you have 2 developers already, and you have a small project or small task coming up within the product. You hire 1 more developer from Netsmartz, and eventually people start shifting from in-house to Netsmartz BYT because it's cost effective. It gives the same feeling as you are dealing with in-house team. We have all the tools and techniques wherein we use Jira for project management, and we have all the communication tools available. So eventually when you get the same feel, you don't want to pay extra.
Got it. Okay, so I guess that let's flip this large scale outsourcing to you having a large scale team. So again, you have a large scale team, you have 1,000 plus professionals out there. So my question now is, we mentioned that last time that we have spoken, usually companies, they specialize on something, it's a technology, it's design, it's a technology, it's mobile, it's whatever it is. They are usually specialists in a particular niche, in a particular vertical, in a particular technology. This is not your case because you have this number of professionals, you have so many areas that you work with. How do you organize that in your organization to be able to attend to so many different audiences?
Okay, so I'll give you one example. For example, you have a mobile specialized company, you have one design specialized company, you have one web or any custom web development, and then you have one CRM. So you can think of probably combining all those companies into one. So what I'm trying to say here is we have structures for every department. For example, it's design. So I won't say that we have a blend of everything at one place. No, it's like specialization for one technology within one department. For example, we have one digital marketing department altogether. That's a different department. And it's a different building altogether. As I said, we have 4 development centers, and those are huge development centers in India. So one development center is dedicated for digital marketing. For digital marketing, we have junior teams, and then the hierarchy is their managers, and then we have the director of that particular department. So we are managing as if there are multiple companies specialized in those particular technologies.
I see.
So whatever you get, it comes out as a specialized thing, because we have those hierarchical we have that hierarchy implemented in the organization for each and every technology. If you talk about probably ERPs or Microsoft Dynamics, for example. So we have a different team for Microsoft Dynamics. Even the director is different. Even the operations head is different. So that's how we bring in that specialized technology to our customers.
Got it. Okay. That addresses the question very well. Let me run through this point here with you. As I said, we have discussed last time that we spoke about working with an agency, with an organization like yours, as compared to working with freelancers. I've been a big proponent of freelancing and working with freelancers, but you run with me through comparing one versus the other one. So do you want to run down that comparison again?
Sure. First of all, freelancing is like you are outsourcing to someone you have never met. Number one. Number two, so whatever that person is showing to you on various portals, for example, any of the portal you take a name of. So whatever that person is mentioning, even if you interview that person, so you don't know whether the same person is working on your project or not. The credibility, that's the most important, because you are hiring somebody for your work, but whatever cost it is, but you want to make sure that your work is done with 100% satisfaction. And if anything goes wrong, you don't know. That's a virtual thing, right? You don't know whom to talk, or probably if that person will be available at the time of crisis or not. So you don't know where the person is located. You don't know how to catch that person if something happens.
Got it. Okay.
So when you work with an organization, there is a credibility. So you know what the company is. You have probably, there are, as in the case of Netsmartz, we have multiple locations. Even we have a local location. We are in Canada as well. So you can come down and meet me any day. If anything goes wrong, you can pick up your phone and call me, for example. I mean,
Okay.
So
I'm gonna.
That's the difference. I mean, that's the very important thing to consider.
Got it. Okay.
The freelancer thing might come a little cheap to you, but paying a little extra for your peace of mind is a considerable point.
I'm going to try to make this point clear, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make a good job, to do a good job here. But whenever in the past that I dealt with organizations instead of, single individuals, freelancers, I usually felt that there needs to be an extra overhead in terms of communication with an organization, because there is, I'm not dealing with the decision maker there. I'm dealing with an individual that will be working on my project, but he or she really works for, Netsmartz, your organization. So is that a con in terms of working with an agency and organization as compared to a freelancer? Just that the overhead communication is a little bit, higher. Not that it's too bad, but just a little bit higher. I mean, what do you say about that?
Okay, so I can only talk about Netsmartz, how we deal with clients, right?
Correct.
So in our case, as I said, the BYT model, build your team with Netsmartz. So when you are building your team with Netsmartz, so those resources are working for you. Sitting at Netsmartz office, they're using Netsmartz infrastructure, but they are working for the client. So whatever, the communication has never been a problem, because whatever a client says, or whatever task is being assigned by the client, the resource is working on the client's project only. He is not working for any other project. So I don't see the communication as a challenge or as a con, I would say, in the comparison. It is rather a pro, I would say. It is rather a very, very comfortable communication, because when you are dealing with Netsmartz, you have that, I would say, you have that, the hierarchy again. So in case you are not happy with the resource, you have the next person, that I need to speak to Ruby. That's the second level communication. I have to speak to Ruby that this resource is not working as per my expectations, or I need one more resource, or whatever. So you have the escalation metrics with you when you're working with Netsmartz. So your first level is your resource, your second level is the second person in the metrics, and your third level and the fourth level contact. So that resource will not take permissions from their project managers or from their higher management, because he is working for you. So whatever he is supposed to do on the project, he will be, you can probably, assign the tasks on Jira, and you can do the direct communication with the resource. Although he is sitting in the Netsmartz building, although he is working for Netsmartz, but eventually he is getting paid for your project.
Okay.
So he is kind of full-time employee for you.
Perfect. That tells a lot, because usually, the situation I described, it was more with a shared resource, but I think that you covered that well. I think that you did a great job there. I really like that. Let's talk a little bit about cost effectiveness, because one of the main reasons why organizations and professionals, they outsource work, one is time, they need to speed things up in terms of their lunch process, but the other one is also cost, So where do you see cost-wise what Netsmartz offers as compared to, on one end, I have to hire a local professional. On the other end, I'm going to go on the web and I'm going to find a freelancer. Can you talk a little bit about cost within that range?
Sure. Okay, so first thing I will talk about hiring a local resource. Hiring a local resource is expensive and time consuming. When I say expensive, it's the HR cost, I would say, first of all. Screening the candidates, shortlisting, interviewing, and then bringing the candidate on board. And then obviously the fixed package for annual package. And that is obviously on the standard rates we have here, right? And then the operational cost, the infrastructure cost, and the all other costs, license, software cost, license cost, and then the retention cost. Obviously, you have to pay extra perks to the employee if the resource is good to retain that employee, right, for long term. And then if you are short of projects or something, then you have to lay off, or that's additional cost, right? So I'm just talking about all the costs, those are involved for a local resource. Now, I'll take you to the Netsmartz cost effectiveness, which we normally, we talk a lot about cost effectiveness, and we leverage that cost effectiveness. We leverage that part. The reason is we have our development centers in India. So first part is this, we are This is actually this is not a pure outsourcing. I would say this is a blend. You are dealing with a local. Your point of contact is local. So you're dealing with, for example, you're dealing with me. So that's that's easy. You can call me anytime. I'm also in Eastern time zone. So you don't have to wait for your morning or for your evening to talk to a person who is out of, who is sitting overseas. So this is one thing. And let's come to the cost effectiveness. So in Netsmartz, we don't charge you anything. We don't charge you HR, we don't charge you retention. Even if we are paying higher perks to the employee, we're not charging you. What we are charging you is, we are charging you a monthly cost. That is a combination of the salary of the employee, the operations, the infrastructure, and the licenses that we use, software licenses, tools and techniques and everything. And that monthly cost is probably, I would say, 50% lower than you usually pay to an employee. I mean, half. It's probably half. And that includes everything. That includes everything: operation, infrastructure, HR, maintenance, perks, everything. And there is no, whenever you can give 30-day notice if you want to lay off, if you want to decrease the team size. So it is not a burden on you. So when you know that project is getting over, or you do not have sufficient work to probably keep 4 employees, you want to come down to 3, you give us 30 days notice, and that's all.
Got it. Okay.
And again, if you want to ramp up your team size, it's just 2 weeks.
Okay. That addressed that. So, and of course, it's more expensive than a freelancer, but for the reasons you have already stated, of course, there are lots of benefits as compared to freelancing. That's great. You have addressed that. Now, my role here is to poke you. So I'm gonna keep poking here. So let's talk a little bit about cultural differences, which I think is a major aspect. It cannot not be mentioned about cultural differences from organizations in North America as compared to Europe, as compared to India, whichever country you're talking about. There will be always some cultural differences. So my point being, how do you handle that? Do you think that this is major, this is minor? How do you address that?
Okay, so I would say there are, no doubt, there are differences. So I'm not shying away with the fact that there are differences, the cultural difference that we are talking about. But then our project managers are very, very senior resources, and they keep on visiting the clients in North America. So they are familiar with the culture, they are familiar with the working style, and they try to, bridge the gap as much as possible.
Got it.
The second thing is our clients also, some of our clients we are working with, they visit their team in India once a year, sometimes twice a year. They visit their team. So this really helps in bridging that gap. When you know your client, when you know their style, when you know their working, so you kind of adopt that, because ultimately you have to work for them. So that's how we try to bridge in that gap. But it is not a very, it's not a major thing to, it's not a challenge.
Okay.
But we really work hard for that. And also for the communication as well, we have, whenever we hire a resource and he spends 1 year with us, we start preparing our resources for this BYT model. So we give them language trainings, we give them all those, we give them trainings for certifications, technical certifications. So they kind of prepared when we bring them for the client. So they are well prepared, and they are trained in such a way.
Got it. Okay.
So
Okay.
we try to bridge that gap as much as we can, and that kind of association, this model is being successful over the years. I mean, we have been doing this kind of partnership with the clients.
Got it.
So
Okay.
it's been successful.
Perfect. Perfect. Very very good. Very good. So coming towards an end here, Ruby, but there is one thing that I would like to ask about. You know, we still have companies that don't outsource much, and from your experience, based on the clients that you have worked with, approached over the years, you have many years of experience there. What is the number one reason that people might be, hesitant on doing some outsourcing? Not only with your organization, but in general, about outsourcing in general. What is one of the main reasons why people are still outsourcing? I'm not sure if I'm ready for that. What would you say?
No, you have actually asked the right question. So many people hesitate to answer this because uh, when you look for cheaper resources, I mean, internet, you Google it and you find resources everywhere, freelancers, right? So when you hook up with somebody who is not right for the project, I would say, not the right skill set. Probably that person is very good technically, but not right for this particular project. But you are looking for a cheaper resource, so you hire a wrong resource for your project sometimes, and that happens many times. So if you are hiring a wrong person, or the person is not understanding your project well, and for whatever reason you have had bad experience outsourcing, right? So there could be many reasons, I would say. Looking for a cheaper resource, and not that person is not a right fit for your project, or probably there was a problem in communication, because sometimes because there is a difference in time zone as well. So sometimes person understand the resource, understands the requirements, but the communication is a challenge. So sometimes the client is not available, the resources, because he's a freelancer. He must be doing many other projects as well, along with this one. So a little, lack of those kind of considerations while hiring a resource will make your experience bad.
Got it.
So
So they had previous experience and they were left with a bad taste in their mouth, correct?
exactly.
Okay. Okay, that's good. That's a good one. Come to a conclusion here, Ruby. Is there anything that we haven't mentioned? And I want to be cognizant of your time here. You have something to go for, but anything that we left that was not mentioned and you feel that it's relevant, not only for you in Netsmartz, but for the outsourcing topic in general. Anything else?
Yeah, I would. I mean, it's my opinion that people outsource. They only consider price while outsourcing. I know it's a big thing to consider, but considering only price sometimes ruin your experience. So it's my opinion that the communication, the process that a company follows for this, and the technical abilities or technical skill set, the right technical skill set required for your project. So we must consider all those aspects before going for outsourcing. Outsourcing is not a very, it's a broader concept. So it's a broader concept. So look for minor things as well. Just price. Price is one of the component, but other than price, there are many other things to consider, like communication, the person you're talking about, the right skill set, the nature of your product, nature of your project, and the person whom you're hiring, his experience with that kind of projects. So there are many other things that needs to be considered, and that's I think one should consider all of these things other than price.
Perfect. How can people get in contact with you if they need more information, if they need some assistance? with Netsmartz, how can people contact you?
My email address or my Skype. My Skype is very simple. It's Ruby, RubyMehta, my last name, Mehta. Ruby Mehta is my Skype name. So anybody wants to get in touch with me, just send me a request or look for me on LinkedIn by typing Ruby Mehta, Netsmartz, and connect with me.
Perfect.
I'll be very happy, very glad to assist if anyone is looking for any suggestions.
Perfect. Ruby, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you, the openness of answering those questions. And again, thanks for your time.
No problem. Anytime. Thanks a lot, Edison.
Bye.